Week 13 of the fantasy football season, and here's a few kickers I look to start this week. The first guy, Jason Sanders of the Miami Dolphins. Jason Sanders, it's been an up and down season for him. A lot of extra points, obviously, being in a high-powered offense like the Miami Dolphins. This week, though, a great matchup at the Washington Commanders. And Sanders, the last few weeks, he's had double-digit fantasy points. Week 11 versus Vegas, 11, and Week 12 at the Jets, 12. So right now, this week, a road game at Washington. I think this Commander defense early on could keep this game a little close like we saw versus the Dallas Cowboys. And then second half, this Miami offense takes off and puts up numbers. I think Sanders 2 or 3 field goal opportunities and the rest extra points. And right now, he's a kicker I will put in the starting lineup. Once again, the next start, Cameron Dicker of the Los Angeles Chargers. So Cameron Dicker, he's been one of the more accurate kickers this season. And he's in a high-powered offense, obviously, with this Charger team. And for the most part this season, 8+ fantasy points. He's been putting up week 9 at the Jets, 11. Week 10 versus Detroit, 9. Week 11 at Green Bay, 8. And Week 12 versus the Ravens, 4 fantasy points, which was a down game overall for this Los Angeles Charger offense. So this week, good matchup at the Patriots. I give up the 7th most fantasy points to kickers on the season. I know they're middle-of-the-pack type of defenses in New England, bend but don't break at times as well. But right now, with him being in a high-powered offense, and an offense, believe it or not, that stalled out over the last few weeks in the red zone, Cameron Dicker, once again, is a start for me. The next start, Jake Moody of the San Francisco 49ers. Jake Moody, we know he's been a solid kicker this year in his rookie season. I know he had a little bit of a hiccup in the midweeks of the season, but the last 3 weeks, solid performances. Week 10 at Jacksonville, 10. Week 11 versus Tampa Bay, 9. And Week 12 at Seattle, 7. So Week 13, it's going to be a shootout, in my opinion, at the Philadelphia Eagles. And this Eagle defense in the red zone, for the most part, they've been pretty decent on the year. But I believe Jake Moody's going to get a few opportunities. This is a big game, obviously, where if San Francisco could win, they're right there trying to take that number 1 seed in the NFC, where obviously you get home field throughout and the bye week. So right now, Jake Moody, I think opportunities will be there. Philly's definitely a tough place to kick, but we saw it in the Week 12 game. Tyler Bass and Jake Elliott hit some big field goals. So this week, in a big matchup and a game where points will be put on the board early and often in each one, Jake Moody is a start for me. Next start, Will Lutz of the Denver Broncos. Will Lutz, he's been one of the better kickers over the last month of the season. And this Bronco team, we know their offense has played a lot of conservative football, and they stall out a lot of drives as well. So Will Lutz, like I said, the last month of the year, he's been playing well. Week 10 at Buffalo, 15. Week 11 versus Minnesota, 17. And Week 12 versus the Cleveland Browns, 9. So this week, good matchup indoors, which always is a plus, obviously, at the Houston Texans, where their defense is a bend but don't break type of defense for the most part this year. So Will Lutz, he's got his confidence back with Sean Payton after they traded for him right before the season, was this Bronco team. And he's definitely a kicker that will crack my top 12. And a kicker that's a start this week. And the final kicker, I look to start Evan McPherson of the Cincinnati Bengals. So this Bengal team, we know they're going to have more trouble finding the end zone now with Joe Burrow out for the season. And the first game without Burrow, McPherson went out there, and it was the middle of the pack game with 5 fantasy points only. But Week 13, a better kickers arena over there at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguar defensive bend but don't break type of unit as well. And I think Evan McPherson, Money Mac, he's going to get opportunities, and they need him to kick some long field goals for this team to put points on the board, because obviously it was a tougher matchup versus Pittsburgh for Cincinnati in Week 12, where they're one of the better defenses in the league in terms of giving up points. But right now, opportunities will be there for Evan McPherson, in my opinion. And he's a kicker that usually has unlimited range. That's a few kickers I look to start for Week 13 of the fantasy football season.